Oh, hey everybody, we're live. Here's the intro music. Just kidding, I'm not going to do that. How are you all doing over there on the internet? Stuff is going crazy right now. Well, not crazy. I mean, the normal amount of crazy. Everybody is talking about Gibson going after satellite and also Collings. Is it Collins or Collings? I don't know. You tell me. Feel free to join, guys, if you want. I'm going to post the join link in the live chat, and it's also in the episode description if you're looking for it. Feel free to join and chat with me about this. Otherwise, I'll just sit and rant by myself, which is fine too. So anyways, satellite. Oh, also we're going to talk about Reverb's fees here in a little bit. All right, we got Damien joining. Here we go. Hey, Damien.
Hey. Hold on, okay, cool. I had the YouTube live stream was playing in the background and it like messed up.
It was my preferences. Cool. Oh man!
Nice.
All right.
Yay! Easy fixes. I love the easy fixes.
All right, Damien, come back if you're out there. It was Damien, right? So,
Yeah, it's Damien.
So, anyways, yeah, Gibson and satellite.
Yeah.
Oh, Robert is joining the stream. I mean,
hey, what do you know, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Clearly, Adam over at Satellite knew exactly what he was doing. He was poking the bear a bit. He
was taking a risk.
He absolutely was taking a risk, but I think he also knew what this would lead to. Like he's not dumb. He knew where this would go, but I think he's also a big fan of the Coronet, and he wanted a high-end version of it. But yeah, I mean, some of the decisions are so close. I mean, they've got the little book scroll and the headstock, everything except for the E logo on the pick guard is really, really close design wise. But obviously he's having them built to a quality spec that we haven't seen from anything from Epiphone.
No. Well, the thing about trademarks is that there are a couple rules around them, and one is that you have to consistently protect your trademark.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's been doing this for years, and if they didn't have Gibson didn't work. And it sounds like that Epiphone's going to be releasing a Coronet again soon, and that must be the reason why. I think Scott Hamilton posted that somewhere.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. I mean, there's rumors flying around because of all this going on. I mean, I'm sure someone out there knows what's going on with that, but I don't. No one's told me anything.
Did you read already the comment in the group that an actual IP lawyer posted?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, that was really interesting because Adam was saying, I think that he started this process in 2016 as far as registering his trademark. And the IP lawyer was saying that if you, as the original owner, Gibson basically had 5 years to contest it, and they're right on that edge now.
Well,
so
then
that's where they are. I mean, if they're even if they're getting in late, they're still getting it in. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, it's at the end of the finish line kind of thing. But so yeah, it sounds like that could be a problem for Adam. But I've heard conflicting that they abandoned the trademark or that they never filed it.
I don't think they ever filed with it.
What I've heard from the beginning is that they never filed trademarks for the Coronet name or design, and that's part of the reason why Adam jumped on this. Is he was interested in doing something similar, and he was looking around and he couldn't find anything on it. He's like, they never did anything, so I might as well go all the way with what I'm doing. But Gibson has a history of that. They just lost recently the ability to claim flying V's and Explorers in Europe because they never registered any of that stuff.
Yeah. That's I think that you all said on the podcast that it feels like Gibson just has like a legal team that does whatever the hell they want.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's
at
the
the
case,
last minute.
then you can't I can't even imagine how much the PR team is just screaming at the legal team.
Oh, totally.
Like, you jackasses.
Damien's back. Welcome back, Damien.
Hey.
We figured out the
So
issue.
I hope I did.
No,
Yeah, I can hear you.
it was Ryan's fault.
Yeah, it was my
Dang,
fault.
long time no see.
Hey,
Was it just it's last Thursday? I think it was.
So,
And we missed Emily. Emily didn't even get on last Thursday at all.
we've got
No.
Barn Owl joining on. We've got 5 people. Hey,
It's
Barn Owl.
the whole party.
Yeah,
It's a
we've got a
party.
real panel here, guys. It's a panel talk.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something I think is interesting. I've played the satellite version of this, and I got to say, I mean, it's a really fun player.
Yeah.
Really great feeling from those things. I've also played vintage Epiphones, the Wilshires, not the Cornet, but I just love those vintage Wilshires. I have played the reissues of the Wilshires. Not good. So I'm kind of hoping that if Gibson does come out with a new version of the Cornet, I hope it's good. You know, I hope it can stand up against the satellite in playability. I mean, unless they go full Gibson with it, I don't think it'll stand up in quality and in just kind of like sexiness. But I think, you know, you guys know me. I love cheap stuff. I think there's opportunity to make an affordable but fun, good playing Cornet or Wilshire or whatever, the same, you know, similar sort of concept from Gibson.
I feel like considering what Gibson, or rather what Epiphone's been doing with the new models, I feel like they could, and this might have been said, but I feel like if Epiphone released something like this, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it just seems kind of like it's going back to that like old Gibson, like we're just gonna sort of push people around sort of idea, like that sort of like public image that they have. Not like fully, but still.
I mean, if I was running Gibson right now with all this stuff in the news, maybe they like the publicity. That's why they let this stuff happen. But I'd look at my team and be like, how come we didn't have paperwork on this? How come we didn't have trademarks on the Cornet? How come we didn't have trademarks on the name, on the body style, on every single part of it? Everything.
Well, it's like somebody, and if they have like a constant legal team, isn't this literally their job to just like cover their bases? Because if they were like, we're never gonna make a Cornet again, like that's over. Like that's so short-sighted.
And they claim, in their reply email that that they've made versions of this, you know, custom shop for artists. So it has been in production. But like, you'd think that they would still be up on the paperwork for it. But if I was running Gibson right now, I'd be like, everyone on the legal team right now, your job is to go through every catalog of every year of anything made by Gibson and make sure every part of it is trademarked, copyrighted, whatever. Like, it's your job to get our book up to date.
But isn't it like
irresponsible for a company this size to leave big models like this? Like, this is not really that obscure of a model. Like, I knew about it before doing all this podcast stuff. I knew about it before making this my life. Like, I just knew it as a hobbyist that, oh yeah, Cornets and Wilshires and stuff like that.
I just feel like the whole like, oh, we've been making it in the custom shop sort of idea. I don't know about that, because I feel like there's a lot of like, are they going to count that as being a production model? Because then I feel like there's a whole bunch of like, I don't know. It just seems really.
Yeah,
like,
I think
I can't like.
I can see like a Matlock style lawyer just hanging all over that and just being like, well, if you are making something, you are producing it, and just what is the
I feel like that was a topic that you guys covered. Like at some point, like what's the difference between like the production model and like custom models and stuff like that? Because I feel like in that case, there would be a whole lot of people in super hot water with like Fender and like of course Gibson because no duh, but like there's I don't know, it's just
Yeah, it
The whole
just feels
situation
like
is just
why is Gibson always getting themselves in this corner where, you know, they've let stuff slide for so long, or they didn't do something correctly, and someone else is like, well, there's opportunity, I might as well go for it, because that's the way business works. If there's opportunity, you try to exploit that opportunity, either to make a profit or, you know, out of some sort of fandom. And I think in the case of Satellite, it is a combination of both. I think they saw opportunity for their fandom and opportunity to you know, make something that they thought people would buy, and I think they've been right. I think you know, they've sold every one of these they've made.
It's kind of like what Eastwood does, where they have, you know, I mean, it is a combination of fandom and also an opportunity for Eastwood. Absolutely. They're just like, oh my God, have you seen this guitar? It's crazy. Let's build one.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, and somebody was bound to come along and make a cornet because those are awesome guitars.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather have a really good cornet than, you know, like a double cut Les Paul or something. I think it's a
totally. I mean, that one on the far right. Oh
yeah.
Chef kiss.
Unfortunately, I cut off the one picture I had of an Epiphone version that has the asymmetrical horns. All the other ones have, symmetrical horns. The other ones had the asymmetrical horns, but they did make one that looked just like the Satellite version. I
had a chance to buy one of those, the symmetrical horn ones, from a guitar shop that I worked at, and my boss was willing to let it go for like $300. Someone had thrown a Bigsby on it, taken it off, and there were a bunch of holes in it, but it was in great condition. And it was just at like that point in my life where it's like I wanted it so bad, but I just didn't have any money at all.
Yeah.
So it was just
feels like that happens a lot.
Oh yeah.
I wish I'd bought one of the
literally every day.
The vintage Wilshires I'd encountered, you know, like 15 years ago. There were Wilshires at a local shop, and I got to compare them to the reproductions, and that's when I realized how good the original ones were, you know. Also, someone just commented, Raven Slaves just commented, the Batwings are cool. I hope that if Gibson's working on a reissue version of this, that there's a Batwing included in it, because I do like the Epiphone Batwing headstock. I think it's fun.
I
like it a lot more than the standard.
Oh yeah, definitely. I keep on seeing like one of the '90s ones. Like you have the gold, the gold model with the single neck pickup in there.
Yeah.
The collage. There's one local to me. I think it's like blue or something like that. And I keep on seeing it every once in a while as I'm just like scrolling through Craigslist and stuff. And
is it one of the hardtail ones or is it one of the Floyd ones?
I think it's one of the hardtail ones. I just like the 24 frets on it. I think that's so cool. I just love weird guitars with 24 frets.
Super 90s too, with the single in the neck.
Oh yeah. What confuses me about this whole thing though is, wasn't Gibson trying to do like, oh, we're going to work with builders who have been making like Gibson-esque guitars to try to like,
this would be
like affiliated, like whatever happened.
They might still be, because I know one of the things about trademark, and I think this came up with the rose pedal and then rose pedals, was that you have to serve the cease and desist to start the conversation around. Like you have to show that you're protecting it.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's a conversation. It's not necessarily you can never do this again. It might just be like, hey, we just have to do this and do something like to show that, you know, we're protecting our trademark or whatever.
Yeah.
right.
Trademark.
Literally.
Yeah, and what that actually means is and whatever that means is kind of up to the two parties. Sorry, Noah?
Oh no, I was just saying it's literally the only thing I hear about Gibson. With any other company, it's like, oh, Fender launched this initiative, or there's this app coming out, or this company's doing this, that, and the other thing. And then I see Gibson in the news. It's like Gibson filed a lawsuit. Gibson issued a cease and desist. As far as I know, they only employ lawyers, and luthiers are kind of an afterthought.
Like, for the most part, Fender saves Gibson baby from burning building.
Gibson attorneys at law.
The funny take on that is that they're a company for lawyers by lawyers. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the last good press I remember hearing about Gibson was really the Nashville Tornadoes when they were
Yeah, you gotta give them
giving
that.
guitars away. There was that, and then about the guitars, like I know people liked what they released for Epiphone at NAMM, but other than those two things, meanwhile, you see Fender doing a lot, and people going nuts over their guitars. It's just two different attempts to like make money. And innovate.
You'd think that with all the money and the power that they have behind their brand, that they would lean hard into some kind of, just PR initiative to kind of, if they cared about it, maybe they like the way things have been going. Maybe they look at the numbers and they're like, every time there's a controversy, we sell things. It's, like every time, this is dark. Every time there's a school shooting, more guns sell.
That is dark.
Their guns are about to be taken away. So
every time Gibson does something, every time Gibson does some douchebag stuff, they get. You've seen the comments on your videos, people defending Gibson. Like, I didn't know that there were that many like real serious Gibson fans.
So maybe it's like
more Gibson stands out there
when they're in the news for suing people. Maybe someone like there's a significant amount of people out there that are like, oh yeah, well I'm going to support Gibson because I agree with them, which is fine. I'm totally fine with people voting with their dollars, and if they want Gibson guitars, go ahead and buy them. That's putting money in some employee's pocket down the line, and anytime someone can make a living doing anything around music, I'm for it. It's just always I mean, this is part of my job right now is talking about this stuff, but I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired about being in the news for this stuff all the time. Like, do something else.
It's jump the shark. I had to slip that in.
Yeah, I was hoping you would, to be honest.
That's perfect. So another thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was interesting is that from what I could tell, this isn't an actual cease and desist. This is Gibson contesting Satellite's trademark application and saying that it's invalid. So I don't know exactly how that sort of legal thing works. Robert has rejoined the stream, but it's I've served cease and desist. It doesn't have to be anything formal. I've never sued anyone, but it's. I think what they're doing sounds like it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit tamer than the news is pumping it up to be. Like if they're just going through, the available processes to contest this, and it's like I think that's normal.
It could be that whole thing, like Emily had brought up, just to start that conversation. But once it sort of got out that they were doing this, everyone was like, "Oh, like." Look, Gibson's being the bad man.
Yeah, maybe if they can officially contest, Satellite's trademark application, and when they're all done and they've resecured their trademark of their own name and their own guitar design, maybe they'll be like, "Oh, people really seem to like your build. Maybe we can do the thing with you." And then Satellite will probably be like, "Oh no, take off. We'll just change our guitar."
Well, what's wild to me was didn't Satellite say they offered to sell the trademark back to Gibson at some point?
I had heard that.
Wouldn't that have been like probably way cheaper than getting your retainer lawyers on this, or are your retainer lawyers just looking for anything to do?
Probably.
They're just at home.
They wouldn't want to set precedent. They wouldn't want to invite that kind of thing to happen in the future where people are like, oh, we can just, we can register any trademark that Gibson hasn't registered because apparently there's a lot.
I think they're throwing pasta at a wall to see what sticks.
So I'm sure.
Did anybody come up with a number?
They would rather spend the money and like do things the way they want to do it than just look like they're bending over for someone. I don't know. Do we want to talk about Collins now or Collings?
Oh, Collings, yeah.
All right,
that one's a lot worse.
Oh, I didn't upload my new version of I had another guitar in the corner and I didn't send myself that one. Oh well. Do you think this one is worse? Do you think this is? Oh, it's worse for the way it makes.
I think it's dumber. I think it's so much dumber.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's pretty dumb, but this is more along the lines of why people already have a knee-jerk reaction to Gibson suing people, because the satellite thing is so clearly like Adam knew what he was doing. He knew what would come of it eventually. He was poking the bear. He saw the future because anyone could see the future. I look at the Collings headstock and I'm like, never in my life would I have any brand confusion as a consumer and think, oh, this must be a Gibson product.
No, not unless they want to try to own every 3x3 headstock ever.
Yeah. Right.
That's ridiculous.
Any sort of divot in the headstock at any
It's excessive. It's excessive what they're doing with this.
And here's a picture of the headstocks that they actually name in their thing. And it's the same sort of legal thing, I think, where they're contesting Collings' trademark bid for their headstock shape. So it's not suing. It's not a cease and desist, as far as I know. I mean, I'm not a lawyer yet. I mean, maybe I can get $50 from online somewhere.
Attorney at law.
But they're not even including in what's mentioned in their proceedings or whatever that Epiphone headstock, which is the an early part of the 19th century or 20th century version of the Epiphone headstock, that is much closer to the Collings headstock, just reversed.
Just reversed.
Yeah, and it's like a side book.
The Epiphone has like a tulip lip sort of thing going on, and the Collings has a hard edge there on their headstock.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's clearly the inspiration, but if that's not even about them, what is the point?
Exactly.
Yeah, what's the point of this?
I feel like it's just Gibson's just trying to grasp, like they're just trying to mark their territory, I would think, because you have a lot of builders who are sort of in that same space, like price wise and like spec wise. So they're just trying to be like, no, don't get too close to what we're doing, because if so, we're gonna do all this. But like, I don't know, man. If people are doing stuff like better than you are, like the only thing that's keeping you afloat is like bad PR. Like that's kind of not good.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad situation
like,
to be in. You're reliant on bad public
relations. Exactly. Yeah.
You keep yourself in the news.
You're reliant on like edgy lawyers and dentists who are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a Gibson because they're sticking to the people. Like, come on, just like get out of here with
that.
I mean, it's working for you right now. Oh man.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a certain element of, which is why people are so touchy about this whenever Gibson is going after someone, and why any brand can be like, well, we got paperwork from Gibson and they can post it and get traction and support immediately. Yeah. It's because it's like, this seems so thin, especially to consumers. It seems so thin concept wise. And it just seems like Gibson trying to bully small builders or smaller builders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially right now too. Like, especially right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care. Come at me, Gibson. Like, I don't even care. But like, especially right now, that is a gigantic, not cool move.
Right.
Like 2 out of 10. Also, 2 out of 10.
Didn't Gibson have a beef with Collings over like a mandolin inlay like a few years back?
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if they ever had any problem with Collings finishes on the guitars too.
Maybe. Maybe this is like a vindictive thing that's like a follow-up for some other issue they had with Collings.
Oh my
God. Remember those guys? They did the pineapple.
Yeah. It's like Jeff, how long has it been since we've sued someone? It's like, I don't know, like a few months. Like, yeah, just pick a name out of the hat, go for it, whatever. Send me the paper to sign. Let me just get it out of the door.
Collings is making the best Gibsons right now.
There's a pool. There's a pool of lawyers in the Gibson building somewhere. And anytime the boss is walking down the hall, they're all like, oh, look busy. And they just start pulling up other companies' websites and like looking at stocks and stuff. And the JC walked in, they're like, yeah, we're going to get these guys. Don't worry.
It's like they didn't even mean to serve up all this paperwork. It's just like someone accidentally hit print. They're like, we got to go through it. Damn. Damn. We told you not to touch the printer. Dan, come on, man.
It's like a military industrial complex sort of thing. It's like once you give these people jobs, they're not going to stop doing their job because then they'll be out of work. If they've got a bloated legal team, maybe they're just keep serving stuff to keep themselves in business. Like, maybe it's time to defund the legal team.
Defund Gibson. Oh no.
Actually, you know what? You could probably get most of the population on board with defund lawyers.
Defund.
Yeah.
That's a winning.
Buy the Gibsons.
That's a winning campaign right there. Defund lawyers. Everyone will be like, "Oh hell yeah!"
Who will supply the used market with Gibsons then? So that's the thing.
When you defund all those lawyers, you're going to have to sell something. So
that's true. So, but then we'll have to deal with like that influx of like the used market on Gibson will be really good for a while, and then like it'll go down and it'll be all messy. So I think it's a hit the market's willing to take. I think it's fine. Yeah. The economy has to stay strong. A few people get mixed up in it. Yeah.
We need to subsidize the lawyering economy.
I mean, the thing is, there just are businesses that make like a lot, if not all, of their money by just suing to protect their trademarks. That's what a patent troll is.
Yeah.
Like, just that's all they do because they can't innovate anymore.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, you look at the most litigious brands in the world, and you think about Gibson, and you think about Disney being litigious, and I mean, I guess Disney is still doing some stuff, but it seems like a lot of what they're doing is like buying things and suing to protect their trademark, no matter who you are, and lobbying so that copyright never expires. Copyright, as long as Disney has enough money to lobby, Mickey Mouse will never be public domain.
Well, I think he technically is public domain now.
Nope.
He's not? They changed it again?
It's Life Plus 90 now.
Oh,
so
get out of
Walt
here.
Disney died in the 60s. Yeah.
I was really
every time it comes up.
They're just going to bring him back to
all those independent Mickey Mouse cartoons.
I think it's Life Plus 90 now.
The thing with this too is that like I feel like Gibson I don't even want to say in their other brands are innovating, but like Epiphone's trying to do other stuff, which is cool. And that's awesome. I actually just saw a video of like Kramer's 2020 lineup. I get like their summer 2020 lineup. And it's funny because they're bringing back like, 24 fret shreddy super strats, Kramer DNA stuff. But in one of the signature models they're doing, I think it's just a Rhodes V. It's like the asymmetrical Rhodes V with like a little bit of an extra cutaway. So it looks almost more like the LTD ESP asymmetrical V. So I just wonder how deep into that rabbit hole you could get of like who, if anything would happen to that. But I don't even think anything would because those other companies probably don't care enough anyway.
Yeah.
Cut Kramer.
But Gibson has gone after people making Rhodes style Vs and, metal style Vs and metal style Explorers and stuff like that. And how bad does it look after you go after a company making a metal style pointy flying V that like an offset V.
Yeah.
And then you go ahead and you're making one too. And it's like you're competing with, you're claiming that there's brand confusion, but then you've got a sub brand. Does that cause brand confusion? Does Kramer cause brand confusion with Gibson? As consumers, it's a lot of this stuff is baffling, and I know there's legal reasons for it, and like they want to protect their IP and whatnot. And so stuff is going to happen that just seems bizarre from a consumer perspective. But man, it's, if they really just need to figure out a way to keep this stuff out of PR,
Yeah, it's tiring.
Yeah,
it is tiring.
All we want to do is play.
Yeah. The way for them to keep this out of the public eye is to actually just, instead of paying for lawyers, is to just pay people off. Like, hey, here's $1 million. Never make a flying V again. I'm sure it would cost more than that for a lot of brands, but for satellite, I'm sure they could have bought them out, lickety split.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Back.
Hey.
Totally.
Should we talk about Reverb now?
Oh boy.
Sure. This is just like your secondary
at every gear group.
Yeah.
Literally all over the internet right now.
This is a little bit funny to me. Oh, I don't have a thing for it. I was like, where's my slide for it? I don't have a slide for it. So we get to go full screen, guys. So Reverb upped their seller fees from 3.5% to a full 5%.
5%.
Everyone, that's a 42% increase.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you do the math a certain way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a 1.5% increase if you do it the other way.
It's a 1.5 point increase. I think it's a 42% increase.
Right. It
depends on how you want to do the math.
Yeah.
Really, to me, as someone who does business in ways where I'm the one, through affiliate links and whatnot, making 1%, making 3%. Sometimes when I'm really making 5 and 6%, and for people to complain about paying 1.5% more to do business, where I'm the one getting that 1.5% is a little baffling to me. And it sucks. It sucks if you've made a living selling through any platform and fees go up and you have to pass that on to the consumer, or you have to eat the cost or whatever. I'm kind of like, Reverb's a big organization. They have employees. They, have a support team.
An excellent support team.
They built the platform where you get to sell, and you could sell the stuff locally and have no fees on Craigslist, but then you limit the size of your potential market. So it's kind of like
you are taking on that risk, because I don't know of any other platform that protects both buyers and sellers the way that Reverb does. Facebook Marketplace doesn't, Craigslist doesn't, eBay doesn't protect sellers. I just sold a pedal to a guy. Yeah, I just sold a pedal to a guy, and he claimed it was broken, wouldn't prove it was broken. Finally, Reverb said,
I saw that on your Facebook.
It's obviously Bupkis, and finally he sent me a video of it not working, and I sent a response like, "Was your guitar's volume turned up all the way?" Because it was an envelope filter. And he's like, "Of course it was." I'm like, "Oh my god!" I talked to Reverb. I'm like, "Listen, can I just charge this guy to the restocking fee because it's not broken?" And they're like, "We'll cover the restocking fee for you."
Wow.
Everyone was happy. Oh, yeah, and then they're gonna let me boost it when I get it back without charging me for it. So that customer. Yeah, I'm never not gonna sell through Reverb unless I'm selling it locally, because no one else is gonna protect me like that.
And you're never gonna get that kind of anything from eBay, which is the alternative. And I think the complaint now is that Reverb has become too close to eBay in selling fees and cost of doing business. I'm like, even if it's close, even if it's the same, even if it's a little bit more, you're getting a very specific market and very specific set of tools for music instruments from Reverb. So to me, it seems really hard to complain. It always, like I said earlier, it always sucks when something comes along and takes money out of your bottom line. That happens to me all the time. My Amazon affiliate links got cut in half because Bezos decided that he needed to be a trillionaire. So that was fun. I went from 6% earnings through Amazon affiliate to 3% overnight. And it's like, where do I make up that money? But it's it's very different from making 90% to making 98.5% of your profit. So
I think a lot of the people that are freaking out about this in like groups and stuff like that are the people who are like, oh, I'm gonna sell whatever pedal, and I'm only gonna sell that one pedal, and they're not like, a lot of them are just selling like odds and ends every once in a while, not actually like running a business over reverb, which would be the people who are like really impacted by this. But either way, like you were just saying, like, specific people are buying on reverb. So I feel like even on reverb itself, prices are a little bit higher than normal.
Yeah.
Like, if I look for like a telly locally versus a telly on reverb, you're looking at like a pretty different market.
But I think that's why reverb has become such a darling for flippers out there, and why people are probably upset, because it's like a flipping market where, the mantra is buy on Craigslist, flip on reverb, because you can literally make money that way.
But then you just bump it up a little bit. People are still going to pay for it, because why not? Like,
people are paying.
Not everybody can get stuff locally. Like,
exactly.
There's sometimes some things you just can't find in rural Ohio. It's a fact.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
sad for those people. But I also think just like you're talking about the protection you're getting versus being on Craigslist.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, exactly.
Thankfully, knock knock, I haven't had anything weird happen with Craigslist. Like,
I feel
like gas station parking lots for guitars, but nothing weird.
Facebook
I'm very happy for you, Damien.
I feel like Facebook Marketplace is even less.
I've been invited to some houses.
Than Craigslist, because with Facebook Marketplace, people can look at your actual like profile and figure you out and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I hate that about Facebook Marketplace. It's so sketchy.
Yeah.
No, I don't want people. I don't want people being like, "Oh, let me check out your profile." But no, that's not going to happen.
What I do like though is like in Seattle in the local groups, I can be like, okay, so this person is selling this pedal. I have mutual friends with this person.
Yeah.
It's almost like getting vouched for. You don't have that on Craigslist.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then if you sell to a stranger through Facebook Marketplace, then it's like, what if they get pissed off that it stopped working a year later, and they go track down your Facebook and start
they're trolling you.
Block them.
And I mean, let's be
let's be
real. Like I'm annoyed by an extra $1.50 off every $100 I sell, but I don't sell that often. And the most recent pedal that I sold, like I got a notification on my phone. I tapped through a couple of times. Shipping and everything was already populated. I printed out a label from my phone to, for a flat rate envelope, got it packed up, and then set up a pickup with the postal service. It took me like 3 minutes and only a couple of clicks. And I was just like, okay.
That's worth the $150 on $100.
It's so convenient.
They've made it,
and it works so well.
They've made it easy for the dumbest people on the planet, musicians, to sell things.
Oh yeah.
Or brand new ones.
Also, and
so easy, even a drummer can do it.
But it's like,
there it is.
But it's like, so you have options to sell your gear. You can sell it on Reverb and pay the 5% fee. You can sell it on eBay and pay whatever their fee is. You can sell it locally. And, that can be hard to move a $3,000 guitar on a Facebook group, because people want to go through and know that they have protections. They want to try it. It's not easy enough. It's not really easy to try out a new guitar in this climate. So your other option is then to sell on consignment in a guitar store. Or to sell to the guitar store, and then you're maybe making 60% of what you can sell it for.
That's if the guitar store even sells it too, because there's some shops near me where they have consignment pieces in there for forever, because it's that exact case of here's a $2,000, $3,000 guitar that no one even wants to touch, because they're just like, oh. And the second they hear consignment, they're just like, oh, never mind. They just walk straight away from it.
Yeah.
It's like you go to Guitar Center and it's actually fairly decent. It's like a guaranteed 60% of what they think the value is going to be, and it's still it feels like nothing compared to just sell it on Craigslist and you can probably get 80% without trying hard.
Exactly. Yeah. Because that's the thing too, is that with Guitar Center, it's not even that it's like 60%. I'm trying to remember exactly how it's done, but it's generally like 60% of like 70% or like this. They have like some really weird way of doing it. When I worked at Sam Ash, like that's exactly how it was. And
there's some weird
I'm not Sam Ash. Love Sam Ash. I think they're great, but like they just do some weird math to try to make it so that they can like pay the cheapest, but like throw it up there for the most that they can, which is like business. But yeah, it's just sell on Reverb if you can. It's not that hard. It's really not. The fact that I can just like point my camera, like my phone, at a piece of gear, and I mean like you see some of the pictures on there too. Like people take some pretty awful pictures, and then they still sell their gear like without any issues. So it's like it's not that hard, people. Come on,
it's not hard.
Take it from me.
What do you guys think is the upper limit? Like I'm assuming
7.5%. That's what I'm going to say. 7.5%. 7.5. I'd get mad at 7.5. Yeah.
I'm assuming that as long as they're the same as eBay, then that's all they really have to do to stay in business.
What's eBay at? I don't
use payment processing fees too, so it works out to about 10%.
Plus no support.
Oh, no.
No support.
Yeah, no support.
And think about Reverb. Reverb has to charge a fee, and it's insanely low what they charge because they have to employ people. Like they're a business too. It's not really like you cannot get this kind of service for nothing, and you can't expect it for nothing because that's not how the free market works.
Yeah,
it's not how any economy works. Like people have to have some sort of compensation for their.
There's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no such thing as a free trial. No.
Right.
Not when businesses are involved.
Yeah.
Someone just said eBay is 3.5%. But then there's like all sorts of other fees on top of that. I mean, every time like a new thing happens, people are like, oh, I'm done. I'm never using it again. Like when Reverb started to have to charge sales tax for various states, people are like, oh, I'm done. I'm never doing this again.
Has to do that now.
People complaining about that stuff, they're complaining about losing a leg up. They're complaining about losing an advantage that they had. Getting around sales tax and stuff like that. That's misgotten gain. That's you going around the system, and to be mad when the company that's hosting your business can't go around the system anymore is kind of silly to me.
The whole taxes thing seems to be that's what is inevitable. All of the online sales services, things of that nature there that local companies are losing around here or stores, that was eventually going to come around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's gone online. So you have
days.
They have to charge sales tax for whatever state you're in via Amazon and things like that. Like they're changing the laws. They're figuring it out. Like otherwise, they'd have to take those taxes out of property taxes or, some other place because they're like, oh, we don't have the same money we used to have. Like what's going on? They're going to get it from you somehow.
I still think it's astounding how little we pay for this beautiful service. It's amazing to me how little we pay to use Reverb.
Yeah. And it's so specific to just guitars and pedals and amps and stuff like that. Like name any other marketplace that's that big and that well run. I mean, they have their families.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who have horror stories with them, but my experience, I've sold dozens and dozens of things through Reverb, and I've never had a bad experience.
Yeah. Same.
I've bought a few things, but I haven't sold anything. Last night I just got another one. I think I remember I did the post on it last night.
Yeah, I've bought tons of stuff too. And
Congratulations.
I've been like,
did you see it?
Not quite what I wanted, but
it was the New Zealand's version, the Jensen Jazzmaster
oh yeah.
Oh gosh, that real green, the green, the green sunburst. Yeah, I picked that. Awesome. I did before I did it. I looked at YouTube videos to see if anybody had a demo of them out there. Because, like I said, I'm not first time player. I've only just started and stuff. but I've got quite a few hanging on the wall already just because Ryan and I talked about this Thursday because they look cool.
They look cool.
I
can argue with that.
My clients really like seeing that on the Zoom meetings.
I would be on my computer, except usually my wife goes to bed early because she gets up early for work, and the wall is right next to the bedroom. So then that's where the guitars are hanging. So I stay in the living room or out here.
So
that's very considerate.
I'm going to wrap this up so I can go start working on dinner. So on Gibson, we're like, more the same, I guess. I'm kind of curious to see how it all goes down, just because Satellite's a local business to me. I've played those guitars, and I think they're fantastic. I'd love to see him continue making that style guitar, whether he has to change details or not. I'm interested to see how that goes. As far as the Collings stuff goes, I hope nothing happens with that. I hope Collings is fine. As far as reverb goes, I want to keep using him.
So will I.
Absolutely.
A 1.5%. Like I'll just add $1.50 to every pedal I sell, because usually they're $4, right?
I remember messaging the live chat one day. This was like years ago, and asking the live chat like, "Oh, I'm looking for this kind of reverb. What should I get?" And the person on the other side of the live chat was like, "Oh, you should look at this. This is what I use."
They're
And it was just
musicians.
like, it was just so cool. I was like, "This is amazing. I love this."
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
I will say too,
I
sold something recently on eBay, and it just feels really archaic. Like dealing with the messaging center on eBay, like it just looks like a wall of code, and I'm looking at like, where's the actual message hidden in this?
Oh, seriously, eBay. The only time I ever sell on eBay is when I'm trying to flip used records, like vinyl records.
Yeah.
Like when I lived in Nashville, I would go to Jack White's Third Man. I'd buy like locally there's the only place you could get at the time, like their little tri-colored things, and for like $14, and I sell it for like $150 to somebody in the UK. Yeah, that's the last time I really used eBay because it sucked.
Yeah, it was just really kind of confusing setup, and like figuring out the shipping, the options were really limited, and I didn't even end up using the shipping. And it just feels like it's stuck 10 years ago.
I gotta go.
All right, me too.
You know,
this has been great, everyone.
All right, guys.
Hi, everybody.
We're gonna figure out how to turn off the beginning where I have technical issues. But thanks to everyone who's watching and commenting. I'll have to go read the side comments later. I'm sure people are screaming disagreements at us.
Yeah,
which is fine.
All those nice things I said about Reverb, I should probably disclose that they've paid me to write for them. So.
My disclosure, I do have an affiliate program with them.
Same.
Link down below.
It's like the asterisk on the bottom.
It's barely anything. I make very little money.
It's 1%. It's very small.
Yeah, which is 1% of used items. So
also, I'll just say that the 2 Gibsons I've owned, I've gotten for free, so I don't care.
I paid
like
for
I said,
all my
come at me.
I have a Gibson I bought very used. I mean, I like it. I just want to be clear. I don't dislike Gibson's guitars.
No, they're great. Yeah. My SG's awesome.
Complain about quality control issues and stuff, and I haven't seen it personally. I mean, it sucks that their headstocks blow off if you tap them. But I enjoy a good Gibson from time to time. I just wish they could have a squeaky clean persona, or at least cleaner than what they've been doing.
At least like a year and a half. At least.
Yeah, like maintain a good voice status for a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. Not like 2020 is going to be the year of Gibson, but it's not the year of anything.
You can behave for a while and then pick and choose your battles. Pick one where it's like obvious. Maybe like the Satellite thing would be less divisive if it's like, oh, Gibson hasn't been in the news for suing anyone for a couple of years. And this is like a clear-cut thing where like Satellite is doing a coronet named coronet where the specs are really, really close. Like it would be a lot less divisive, I think. But because Gibson has this history, it makes it tough. It makes it tough to support him. So I don't know.
All I ask is if they bring the RD back with the original specs. All I ask. Please bring back the RD as an Epiphone even. Please. Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks for everyone who contributed. Everyone go subscribe to Emily at Get Offset.
Already did.
Thank you.
Same.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you.
And join the Patreons too.
Yes. And join the Patreon group.
Heck yeah.
I do that too.
Join the Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.